lot planned for you. We have some amazing content for you. So today you're going to learn how to migrate a database um, from an on-prem to maybe cloud. It doesn't have necessarily to be cloud. It can be from one server to another server. This server can either be within your house or within a data center anywhere within where you stay. So it's very, very important. We saw that before we let you guys we make sure that you understand like how to migrate your data, that to ensure, and also we can teach you how to create a pipeline for those who do not understand like the technicalities. You can also show them how data is stored within a database by building a pipeline for them. That's why we are going to we're going to finalize our session with building a pipeline once we've migrated our data locally to cloud, from local database to cloud. Yeah, with that, hey, that's a longer introduction. Yeah, with that, I guess you all know me by now. My name is Zablon. I'm not alone. I'm with the Minister of Enjoyment himself, our lead module, Mr. Gerald Macherechedze, all the way from Georgia, eh? Gerald, unmute and say hi.
Zeppelin, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our learners. Thank you so much for making the time to join. Please tag your friends along in the different groups that you are in. Let them know that that amazing team has started a session so that they can join us and we have fun together. Remember, this is one of our I think it is our last session. This is our last session for the database module, and I hope that we have fun. Let us end it on a banger. We've worked so hard to be here, and I believe that we are very much proud of you. Each one of you that joins our sessions, that is always here showing love, asking questions, we appreciate you. With that said, this is not goodbye, but it's just the beginning of a new era, and we look forward to interacting and working with you all. Back to you, Zablon.
All right. Thank you so much, Gerald. I want to request you to get a glass of water because it's about to get hot in here, hot like a heater. All right. So if you could allow me to share my presentation slide so that we can start. Yeah, I just got my glass of water. Hey, I'm telling you, it's gonna be hot. All right. So let's start. I believe my slide is visible on your side. Okay, let me just share with you the slides so that you can also have, because others have the access to the slides. Mm. Just access the slides. The slides once you get the link. Let's go all of us there. All right, so that's the link. Yep. All right, there we are. So it's the database design module, the afternoon lesson. What you're going to learn, first things first, what you're going to learn at the core of this lesson. Number one, you're going to understand the importance of database migration, differentiate between the common types of migration. Number three, we're going to learn the basic steps in the migration process. Number four, we're going to perform the hands-on activities to backup and migrate a MySQL database using a real-world scenario. So let's start off by understanding or demystifying what exactly database migration is. So we usually say it's transferring data from one database to another. Okay. So data migration is the process of transferring data from one storage to another. Keep it simple, like this guy. So this guy is taking the data from their computer to a server somewhere else. It could be cloud, it could be a data center somewhere. Yeah, like that. So if you can allow me to switch off from this slide so that you can go to Draw.io. So what it means is you're taking your data from one storage area to another storage area. This could be a server. So there it is. So you carry a data. I don't know if you have a data icon. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I think this is good. So, oops. You carry something like this, you transfer it from here locally into another server like that. So this is your data transferring from one database, local, from local, maybe local storage to maybe a data center somewhere. Like that. So inside the data center, there's a server that has a server that has MySQL installed. The MySQL, maybe it could be a paid version, it could be a free version. So it depends with the people managing the data center. All right. So yeah, that's all about the migration part. It's very simple to understand. So let's tackle another important aspect of database migration. We call it the common database migration tools. We have what we call database before we even come to the database migration tools. Oh, I forgot to tell you that reason why we require migration as developers is because they help us to plan, validate, and safely apply schema changes to different environments. Also, migration helps transition database from one current state to a new desired state, whether that involves adding tables, columns, removing elements, splitting data, changing types and constraints, or something like that. Now we have what you call common migration tools. If you're working with cloud, these three we got you covered. So we have AWS Migration Service. We also have Microsoft Migration Assistant. We have what you call Oracle SQL Migration Workbench. So the one that maybe I've worked with is this one, AWS Database Migration Service. This other one, I'm yet to try to give them a try, but these two are open source. We have Ghost and Schema. So these are open source. If you go to this site, I don't know if you still have it. So you can just write MySQL migration, open source migration tools like that. So if you click this site, it will give you some of them. Like Ghost, we also have Schema, there's Liquid Base. It's actually the most well-known product in Segment. It's a CLI based and written in Java. We have Flyaway. We also have Bytebase, which is mostly used by DevOps to migrate. Okay. Yeah, so it comes with a CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Yep. So the other thing, AWS DMS. So here it is. You can open the documentation. For this one, you just read and see how, maybe if you have a cloud account and see how you can use it. AWS DMS is a web service you can use to migrate data from your database that is on premise, okay, underlined here, on an RDS DB instance or in a database on an EC2 instance to a database on AWS service, all right? So yeah, this is also another tool you can use. You can also migrate database from AWS service to an on-premise. You can migrate between sources, endpoints. You can also migrate between sources and target endpoint different engines. Oh, okay. So, but before you migrate between different engine using database migration, you need what we call a database schema tool. Let's see if we have one schema tool. Oh yeah, here it is. AWS schema tool. So this means if you want to migrate between, let's say, Postgres to MySQL or MySQL to MongoDB or DynamoDB, you need the schema conversion. Yeah. So from schema conversion, then you can migrate your data. As you can see here, source database is maybe Apache Cassandra, and then target is Amazon Dynamo. Dynamo is a normal SQL database, like MongoDB. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of MongoDB. Yes, this is the one. Now, for AWS. Now, there are different types of migration. So now that we haven't looked at Microsoft Migration Assistant. Let's see. Microsoft. Okay, overview of Data Migration Assistant. Helps you upgrade to a modern data platform by detecting compatibility that can affect database functionality. So we also have this one for Azure. Okay. I'm sure you can use it locally. Yeah, you can just come to their site and read. Yeah, if you want to understand more. But I think it works best with the Microsoft SQL. You know it? Yeah, the Microsoft SQL, MS SQL. Now, there are different types of database migration. So let's see some of them. We have what you call homogeneous migration. We have heterogeneous. We also have the cloud migration. So let's start with the homogeneous migration. These are types of database migration. What do I mean by homogeneous? Homogeneous means you have MySQL here. You want to migrate to another MySQL, right? So you migrate like that. You migrate your data to another MySQL database. So this one is MySQL. Also, this one is MySQL. All right, believe that is clear. So this is what we call a homogeneous, from the same type of engine, MySQL, to another MySQL. We have heterogeneous. So for example, we can have MySQL, and then you're trying to maybe send it to Postgres. Okay, let me see if you have one for Mongo. Okay, no, Postgres. All right, so if you have that kind of database, maybe you're trying to migrate from MySQL to Postgres, right? Because maybe you've had a Postgres has a lot of features. Maybe it's best for maybe your kind of application. You know it because you're the developer. Maybe it's able to accommodate the load as compared to MySQL, or the cost for running MySQL is expensive as compared to Postgres, so you decide to migrate, right? So this is Postgres. And we have MySQL. All right, so that is what you call heterogeneous between different engines. Finally, we have migration to cloud. So you have your local storage. Maybe you're trying to migrate to cloud. Let me get a cloud. AWS cloud looks like that. So this is AWS, and then we have their resources, MySQL. So you're trying to migrate your data from local storage to cloud like that. So it doesn't have to be like the cloud migration doesn't always have to be local storage to cloud. It can be from one cloud platform to a different cloud platform. For example, maybe it could be from AWS to maybe Google Cloud. Let me see if I can get a shape for Google Cloud. Is there one? something like that. I need another thing. So the example that I'll be using, it doesn't have to be always AWS. You can try it with maybe Google Cloud, Azure, Oracle, Alibaba. If you have account in them, feel free to try. Okay. Yeah, so try in any, just create endpoints and then try to migrate once I've shown you like the step and the process. So maybe you're trying to move your storage from AWS to Google Cloud. This is what you call a cloud migration between different cloud platforms. Yeah, I believe that one is well understood. So let's touch base on the next concept, what you call the steps in database migration. All right, so as a developer or a database administrator, one day you'll be required to migrate your database, all right, from where you have your storage. So there's steps which you'll have to follow in order for you to ensure that you've migrated the entire company's or organization data without losing the data, right? Because remember, if you lose the data and you don't have a backup, express, you're going home. I'm not scaring you. I'm just telling you the truth. You lose the company's data and you don't have a way of recovering, that one is express, home. So, first things first, before you rush to start to start a before you rush to start um migrating database without even understanding like how the schema is organized or the structures, please plan. All right. So, in the morning, I asked the learners who are there, so what would you consider in your plan before you migrate? Maybe I can get some of you to tell us. Just type in the comments, I'll read. All right, I see security. You have to consider security, true. You also have to consider price, Sylvia, nice. Coping, coping what? Price, yes, yes, you have to consider price. So, uh, redundancy, risk, proximity. Hey, Damilola. Feasibility. Hey, Vincent. Hey, these terms, eh? Hey, data size. What is this data size? There's no term as data size. Latency, I see data security, scalability, the amount of data you have, security, latency. All right, so let's see if we can write some, right? This is what you call data residency. What do you guys understand by the term data residency? Data residency. Data residency. What do you understand by the term data residency? Damilola says, where data is stored. Where data is located. Warren. Sylvia, where data will be stored. Nice. So Oluwole, data at rest. That is the state of data, not data residency. Patricia, where data resides. So you shortened what I asked. That what is data residency? You shortened. Hey, where data is stored. Yes, exactly. So data residency in Africa, let me just ask, in Africa, do the people in authority care about where you store your data? Do they? Maybe from your country? I don't think so. In ours, no. First, they'll even sell your data. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey. Gerald, do people in your country sell their citizen data?
They always throw us under the bus, Zablon. You find out that an insurance company already has your details and they calling you calling you to ask you to join them. And you ask, how do you know I have a car?
Yeah, so if you're in Europe, hey, right now you'll be a billionaire if they try that, eh? Or maybe in the Western countries, there they can't joke with people data. If you have to share someone data, you'll have to ask consent from them. Don't play with people data. They say data is the new fuel, eh? Do you know that in China, data cannot leave China? Like, yes, that's how strict they are. Data cannot leave China. That's why you find all these big tech giants, they have their um, data center in China. Someone might think I'm lying, but I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. It's only in Africa where the politicians don't care where you store the data. Let's see if in China uh, can data be allowed to be stored somewhere else. Let's see. You see, it's even written here. China digital data laws and regulation. China has long been recognized as a country that takes data privacy and data sovereignty very seriously. China has been all that. So data cannot leave China. Also, the Europe are very strict with their data. They say data is the new fuel. If you have data of a particular country, you can learn a lot of things. You can destroy them. You can learn like a lot of things regarding a country, like their purchasing habit. What do these people love to eat? Is it Mautwana? Is it Virenje? What do you guys eat at your country? Mutura? Uh, wild sausage? Yeah, do you have wild sausage? Yeah. You know wild sausage?
I'm trying to get the picture in my head. I'm on
So,
Google right now.
yeah, that is the type of food that you only take when it's dark outside, eh? Yes, you don't even look at the person who's preparing that meat. You just go and eat and trust in God that your stomach worms will be
Mm.
able to take it all. Anyway, so yeah, the other part was which one? Hey, I've digressed. Where were we? Hey, oh, now let's go to assess. Yes. Now, what do you assess now? We've already planned. We've seen that you need to plan where your data will be stored. Where will it reside? All right. So, for example, my users are in China. My application serves users in China. Where will my data reside? Yes. If the users who are utilizing my application are in China, where will my data reside? Yeah, I'm in Africa. Our company is in Africa. If, hey, I see people are saying Africa, Africa. For example, I've built a site that the Chinese people love very much, and they're utilizing my site to do a lot of things, right? To automate some of their daily tasks. And I want to make sure such that when they access my site, the latency is very minimal. And the time it takes for them to access my site is reduced significantly. So I'm asking, where will the database be stored? Is it in China? Is it in Africa? It depends. Dami Lola, it depends with what, yo? China. Anyone who knows how to sing Chinese national anthem? All right. Hey, Dami Lola, delete that. All right. So it depends also as a developer. Another fact that you have to consider is cost. Is it cheaper to have your database in China or in Africa? You see? Now, the other thing to look at is like latency. So the amount of time it will take for a customer in China to access your site, right? Also, there's security. Is it secure to store your data in China or in Africa, right? So you'll find that all the Chinese applications that we use, the data is usually stored where? I know. Oh, wait. TikTok. TikTok data is stored where? In China, right? And that data, the way you guys upload your, which is the latest trend in TikTok? Zenzele, viatu, the shoe, oh, shuka, kiatu challenge. How is the kiatu challenge done now? Shujaa, shusha. I see all the shoe jokes, eh? You guys got jokes. You should try stand up. Now, that, and then when it comes to the assessment, you have to consider the risk. Is it safer to have your database in case of another World War III or IV? How will you be able to get your data out before before they utilize it? Because they okay. I don't know where I read it, but I heard somewhere where they said that in case there will ever be, I'm not praying that there's gonna be a World War III, but in case there will ever be one, it's gonna be about data. Yeah, I don't know where I read, but yeah, it's gonna be about data. No, not going to the field and shooting people. No, not that one. It's gonna be about data, knowledge. You see, like the way AI, there's a fight between America and China. Who has the best AI? By the way, who has the best AI? Is it Chinese or the America? Who has the best AI? Is it the Chinese or China? I see China, Chinese, Elon Musk, America, Korea. Who is Africa in this? Hey, Simba AI. I knew someone was gonna mention Simba AI. So Gerald, it's only in Kenya I've seen this AI. Do you guys have your AI? You know, in Kenya we have AI. It's called Simba. Here it is,
Is
Simba
it
AI.
a local one, Zablon?
Yeah, this one is very fast. You should give it a try. Okay.
Let
I don't know how it works,
me
by the
check
way.
it out.
Simba AI. Yeah, this is where the office is. Chiromo Lane, CFC. Okay. AI. So also we're also trying to be somewhere there among the big three. So next we be here in Kenya. Yeah, we are trying to see if we can defeat either China or USA by coming up with our own AI. Yeah, I hope this AI won't be that biased like the other ones, especially with the image generation. Yeah. So so give a try Simba AI. So Simba AI is a Kenyan. Okay, I don't know what it does. Our team of leading data scientists are capable of analyzing structured and semi-structured data of banks, building bank-specific data models to turn them into actionable insight for the bank. Yeah, this looks like something good, All right, you can read it at your free time. So we've already assessed the risk, right? Let's come back to our slides. We've assessed the risk. Now, once you've seen the risk, like in case of World War, and you've seen that you want to migrate to China, and then you're afraid in case of World War, you might not have the facilities to go and collect your data, or your government might not have the facilities to, to go and collect your data or store your data. So you assess the risk. What are the risks? Higher. You create a backup. I remember I said one time, if you want to automate the backup, use what? I'll come to that later. So you create a backup, and then once you create the backup, you try and see like the database schema and how it is organized, how the structure looks like, and then finally you migrate. Another thing I can add here is also consider monitoring and testing if everything works perfectly. And by testing, that's what I mean by creating a pipeline. See if regular users, those who don't understand like how data is stored, how data things work, um, they can be able to see the data, because just a regular user will want to see the data. Them, they don't care how you store the data, what smart tools you use, they just want to see the data. Yes, they only want to see the data. Yeah, so the next step is actually going to the hands-on, but before we touch hands-on, let's watch this meme. All right, I hope you get the context, right? So when I'm told to show my best project, uh, that is what I end up showing. Just make sure your whatever project you'll be showing to us, you have some confidence and give it your best shot, right? Even for week 8 database, just give it your best. Yeah, give it your best. Have some confidence in whatever you're doing. Write an article. Send me that article. I like to read at least, and yeah, I like to see like your thought process in that, man. Yeah, let's take a small break. I get some water. Oh, my water is here because it's hot. I don't know why I'm feeling hot, and yet the place that I'm in, it's raining. Okay, let's just listen to some music. Um, and then I'll come back with the Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. So I just remembered, by the way, do you know that it's cheaper to store your data in America as compared to any other continent? I don't know, but I just thought of telling you guys. It's actually very cheap to store your data in America. And then I don't know, I told you, these guys are planning small, small. Uh, by the time uh, there's a world war, they'll have access to all your data. I don't know how you're going to access that data, but it's very much expensive to store data in Africa. I don't know why. We, yeah, I tried one time to store data in South Africa because there's a AWS data center there. It was very much expensive. Even just creating a server there, it's very expensive. Even Azure, not just AWS. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't I really for real, for real. All right, but you find that like when storing the data in America, the prices are like cents slash into something like, hey, it's cheaper. I'm telling you it's cheaper. So we've come to the fun part where I know everyone was waiting for, the hands-on. So with the hands-on, I'll create okay. So in the morning I was told I was moving in between so many tabs. So for this one, I like to just have an order, right? So I'll start with the unmanageable database, okay? And then we'll go to what we call manageable. All right, so first things first, by unmanageable, it means me as the developer, I'll be taking care of the server, number one. I'll be ensuring the server is at health at all times. I'll ensure there's enough CPU. I'll ensure the license keys have been paid for if I'm using a paid version. I'll do all the manual work. That is what we mean by unmanaged. Later on, we are going to see what you call a managed database. So since I'm already on AWS dashboard, this is how you create a server. It's okay if you don't have AWS, please just watch or note somewhere where I'll be clicking. And then later on, if you manage to get your own account, feel free to do the same. Also, you can try it out if you have Google, Azure, or any other. Click there. So we have EC2. By EC2, I'm creating a server, a computer. So I'm trying to create a computer in California, or it's actually in North Virginia. And then launch instance. So I'll give it a name. I'll choose an operating system, Ubuntu. So the instance type is T2 micro, reason being, it has one CPU, 1 GB of memory. And yeah, so as you can see, these are the prices. For Linux, it's charged this one, 0.0116 USD per hour. So this is how much it will be charged when the server is running. And then I'll create what you call a key pair. So with a key pair, it will enable me to log into the server based on wherever I am. Okay. So if I'm in North Africa, I'll use this key pair to log into the server. So I'll write here, I'll just give it any name. You just give it any random name. I like keeping mine short, and then click here, create. So once I've created, I'll come here to the network setting. So by network settings, I'm trying to set what we call a firewall. So I'm trying to enable some of certain traffic to be allowed inside the server, all right? So if you don't want to allow certain traffic, you just uncheck this. So for HTTPS is, for example, when I want to deploy maybe, let's say, a Node.js application, a Django application, I'll be able to install something like an Nginx or any other web server that or Apache. Okay, so configure storage. By default, I'm given 8 GB, but you can always increase it. And then 3000 input output performance that. Now, we also have what you call advanced details, but they're not that important. So all that I've configured is what will be required. So launch instance. So once I've done that, come to the instance side, and then so you'll see that the server has an IP, public IP, and it has a private IP. So this private IP is not accessible to any other person apart from you, the person who created this server. So as you can see, I have a public IPv4. This is the one that I'll copy. And then come to my Windows operating system. I'll open Bash. So the reason why I'm using Bash is because Bash has what we call SSH. I'm not sure if the CMD for Windows, if it has this. No, it does not, by the way. You have to use what you call a PATI. This one, this tool, maybe, if you want to access. This one, a free SSH and Telnet client for Windows if you want to access using an SSH. But since I already have Bash and Bash has SSH, there's no point of me installing PATI. So I'll pass in an I flag, meaning identity, and then my key is written like that. That's the key. And then I'll pass the user who wants to log in. That's the one by default. And then paste my IP. Okay, then you press enter. So I'll write there yes. Okay, so it's telling me permission denied. I don't know what I've written, the wrong thing. Okay, so I know why. You see, I'm in the wrong location. Here, I'm supposed to be in the downloads because this key is in the downloads. So I'll move to the downloads. There, I've logged in, as you can see. So first things first, I'll I'll update my permission. So I'll change to a super user. That's how you do it in Linux. And then I'll update the machine apt using apt update and apt upgrade like that. So it takes like a minute or two before it's done. All right, so I'm sure the reason why it's taking time is because this traffic has to go to America before it comes back to Kenya. So you can see the latency. Remember, it's also part of the consideration that I was telling you. Also proximity to customer. Now you get the point. You see like how it's taking time. But I'm sure if someone in America tries this, they'll notice the difference. So the next thing is to install what you call MySQL Server. So it's very simple to install MySQL in Linux because the person who created MySQL created it to run on Linux operating system. So it's usually very easy by just writing this, and then you have MySQL. Apt install. So I need to pass the IS, and then it will install. It's done. If you want to confirm, you can just write MySQL like that. I'm in, and then I'll create database. I'll just call it sample like that. So show databases. There we have our sample. So this is how we usually do when you want to maybe deploy maybe a Django application, PHP application, which other one? Node.js. Which other one do you guys deploy? Which other? Yeah, I've been working with Django. So, for example, if I was to, if I was working with a Django application, so the next step will be to come and clone maybe a Django application from GitHub and then connect it with this database here. And then the next step will be installing what you call install Nginx. Okay, so for all the users to have access to this server, such that when they try to access your web application from this server, they'll see what? They'll see your application running. Right now, we've just installed what you call an Nginx. Nginx is a web server, right? If I go to this IP, don't know if it's still copied. Let me see. Okay, not that one. Let me copy the IP from here. If I open this IP, you'll see that it has allowed traffic from the public internet. As you can see, it says what? Welcome to Nginx, because I've just downloaded Nginx. So the next step, if I was to deploy a project here, let's say for example, a Django application, I'll come and add all my web page. Okay, I'll point all my web pages that I want users to access in the Nginx web server, and then connect my Django application with the database that we've just installed. So the other thing, if I want to automate like backups for this, like let's say, for example, I already have a database, right? And I want to automate backups for the database that I have, our sample database. Remember last time I mentioned about a specific feature that you can use to do that automation. Maybe every Friday you have your backup created and then transfer them to a different storage area where they'll be stored safely, just in case this server goes down, because it is not guaranteed that this server will always be running. Something might happen, all right? Yeah, maybe a shooting star might fall on the data center in California. And then what will happen? Of course, your server will go down. So I mentioned a specific feature that is in Linux, right? Yes, who can remind us?
Zeppelin.
There's one there. Yeah, yeah.
You said a shooting star will fall away?
California. Shooting star might fall in California. Do you have shooting stars, eh? there's a specific tool, guys, I want you to mention. So I said, okay, let me just open a new page here. There's something what I mentioned about Linux cron. This one. So for example, I want to automate tasks with crons. For example, you want to tell me that if you are hired as a developer and then your company has this kind of server and then the database here, you want to tell me you will be waiting for every Friday, maybe when people have left job at 5, you are just seated there waiting for when users are not utilizing the application, maybe 12 a.m. in the morning, so that you can create backup. No. So that can be automated using what you call a cron. So you just write a simple cron and then the cron will do the job. So you will be coming to, okay, also the cron can just, you can just write a basic bash script to deploy, or not deploy, but transfer those files to a different storage area. Like let's say an S3, something like that. Okay, so you take it from this server, okay, to a different server. Now, I believe that one is well understood, right? So our main agenda was to see how we can migrate data from a local instance, that means my computer, to a server in California. Okay, so in Windows, also it has been made easier for you. There's a tool that we call Windows NCP, this one. So you open. So as you can see, this is my desktop, all the tools that I have in my desktop, and everything that I have towards the right is what? Okay, I haven't created yet. So I want to create a connection with the AWS server. So I'll add there the IP of the server. Okay, the port is 22. Reason being that the port for secure shell. So if I'm using secure shell, I'll come here to the advanced part and then go to authentication. Look for the key that I've been using. So the key is written as z.pem. There it is. Open, say OK. Just click save, OK. Now what it has done is it has converted the key to how a Windows operating system can be able to read the key. You see? So initially it had a PEM. So a PEM, PEM extension is mostly for Linux. PPK is for, you get the gist, right? PEM is Windows. PPK, okay, no, PEM is Linux. PPK is Windows, okay? So once you've done that, click OK. And then let's test. You click login, accept. So it's gonna ask me the username. Forgot to pass in the username that I will want to sign in with is called Ubuntu, and then click OK. Just like that. Now I'm in. Another importance of having this kind of tool is because not every day you want to have maybe a project on GitHub, right? So sometimes you might want to deploy your project directly from your computer to the server. That's why you need this kind of tool. So you do the manual lift, drag and drop. It has made possible very easy. You just click, drag, drop. So now that I've set up everything that I need, the only thing is to create a folder. Here, I'll give this folder a name. I'll just call it sample or test, like that. So here it is, as you can see. how do you notice that I'm in Ubuntu? Do you see the path? So in Ubuntu, // in Windows, backslash, 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 // backslash, backslash, backslash. You see the point? Have you all noticed? Is it visible? So I've already signed into the server, right? Even if I go back to the terminal and then write ls, you'll see the folder test is here. So I'll cd to the test. ls is currently empty, as you can see. So we want to perform a backup and then we migrate that backup, okay? So I'll come here and open my CMD. I'll go to my favorite location. It's the desktop. Now I'll create a backup for the sales DB. Where do you get this sales DB? This is the same sales DB we've been using from week 2 up to week 8. So I'll write my SQL dump, right? By now, I'm sure you all know how to create a backup, right? So who's the user? The user is root, right? What is my password? My local computer password. Pass 1, 2, 3, like that. I'm trying to create a backup for sales DB. So I wanted to create in a file called, not test, but data.sql. I don't know if it's visible. Okay, I'll be changing the wrong way. Data.sql, like that. So I believe that is visible. Now, if I press enter, it's going to create this automatically like that. So the reason why I pass my password here is to avoid being prompted to enter the password. So yeah. Now, the next step, we've created our data.sql. If I come back to this tool and check my desktop, I'll see the data.sql file is here. So what I'll just do, I'll drag it. Nope. I'll open this one first. There. So I've opened, you just notice with the path. So I'll click on it, drag. So if, for example, I was transferring maybe a Django application, what I will need to do is create what you call a zip file. So with Django, you know, it comes with like 60,000 of files, right? So you cannot just transfer them like that. It takes you like a half day before those files have been successfully transferred to a server. So the best way to transfer is by number one, you can either archive or create a zip file. So with zip, it will take less time to transfer. I believe that one is clear. So minimize that. Now, if I ls, what do I see? Data.sql. So my data, I've shifted from Kenya all the way to California. Okay. So my data has been to Atlanta, Georgia before me. Hey, levels, eh? So the next step is to now add this data to my database. And then if I had an application, we could just now point it to the application and then we could be seeing the same data. So the next point is to just write MySQL -u root and then sample db data.sql. And then just like that, if I sign into my SQL and then I write show databases. We have sample, use sample. Okay, show tables. There we see our customer employees offices, orders, payments, all that. So if I select all from offices, what do I see? I wanted one that has less data so that we see. Okay, let's try again. Okay, there. So you can see this how our data looks like, right? So you can see the way the data is. It's the same way if I open the data here on this local MySQL workbench. So this is what you call unmanaged database. We take a break. Let's consume that. Let's finish our music first and then we come back. We do the managed. All right, we are back, eh? Yeah, I just turned on my heater, not my fan, eh? Because it's getting hot in here. Every minute it's getting hot, eh? So let's go to the next step. I believe this one has synced, eh? So you create a server and then you do the migration part. So for those who are asking whether there's a Windows way of doing it, honestly, I don't know. So in rare case, you'll ever find an organization that's using a Windows operating system to deploy their project. Like in rare case. I'm not saying there isn't, there is, but in rare, so a majority of companies, they're using what? A Linux operating system. That is why I'm using also a Linux operating system. I've not said you're going to now change your machine from Windows to Linux if you don't know how to use Linux. Just know like the commands. That is all that is needed for you. All right. So the other parts now, I'll come back to this other side. Okay, not that side, but I'll search here RDS. So I'll click this. So we also have what you call a serverless database. Just click new tab and read what is a serverless database. Now it's taking time to load. Okay, I'll click this one because this is the one that you're learning. So if you're doing a Postgres, you check there. If you're doing an Oracle, check here, MariaDB. By the way, Maria is also a very nice type of relational database. It's actually easy because it's very, very easy. Deploy your project using also MariaDB. You can give it a try. So we have MySQL, also Postgres, by the way. I love Postgres. Now, so the templates, I'll go for free tier. I'm not looking to be charged, so I'll just click free tier. And then settings, I'll leave it the way it is. So the credential here, I want to name my my username to be a root. I've been using root, so I just want it to be the same root. So the password that I'm writing here, please don't go and implement the same password. Otherwise, tomorrow morning, you might find that you're no longer part of that company. So I'll check the CPU also here to be DB-T3 micro. By what this means is like, you see how your computer has 4 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes, 32. That's the same thing I'm trying to do here. As you can see, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 2 CPU, so it's like threads, right? And then the networks up to 2085, I think it's the IO, input output. Now, once I've checked that, the storage, I just leave it the way it is. The SSD for better. You know how SSD works best, right? As compared to HDD. The other part, connectivity, connectivity, the only thing I'll change is create a new VPC and then public access, because I'm in Kenya, I want to just access it. The other part, which other part do I need to change? There's no other part. Availability zone, it will select one automatically. And then by availability zone, it means data centers either in California or in another state, depending with how my LAN has been created. So additional configuration, the default port is the 306. I just leave it the way it is. The other part, which other part? Monitoring, I'll have it as off because if you add monitoring right now, it's an extra cost. If you don't have that cost, just have it as off. And then we have what you call that additional configuration. I'll create one with, it comes with us. I'll create an initial database called sales. The DB parameter, I'll leave it the way it is. I'll remove backup, create a point in time snapshot of your what. Also the encryption, maintenance, I'll leave it, that one checked. Okay, the other ones, it's fine. Now I can come and create. So this one takes like 5 to 6 minutes or 7 at max before it creates. So it's taking sweet time to create. Meanwhile, let's configure what you call a firewall. So if you don't know a firewall, just click new tab and write here, what is a firewall? What is a network firewall? So there it is, hardware software that restricts, permits the flow of traffic between networks. So I'll come back and configure what you call a firewall. Now that you've understood by this definition, I'll come back here and then go to its written VPC security group. That's how AWS names it. It's firewall. So I'll open a new tab. And then since I want to access, because I'm in Africa, the traffic there, I want to filter the traffic to be allowed from Africa, from Nairobi to California or Atlanta, Georgia. So edit inbound. So this means edit incoming traffic. Traffic from Nairobi, Kenya. Yeah. There. And then anywhere IPv4. And then description, you can just leave it and then save. So you notice also for you to do some of this cloud stuff, you also need to understand like a little bit of networking, like what it means when the IP is like this. This means all traffic is allowed. So save rules. And then once you've saved, come back and check if the other one has, oh, it does not finish. So the status is still creating. As you can see, this is the region US East 1A, that is the data centers in US East 1A. So this is my VPC and the subnets. It's publicly accessible, the certificate authority. That's why I told you the managed comes with these kind of licenses. So yeah, but the other one, unmanaged, you as the developer, you as the DBA, you as that role that you've been hired for, you're the one who will be required to do all that manual configuration. Also, it comes with a feature where you can monitor. It's a basic feature, but you can monitor like how the bin log disk usage, bus balance, freeable memory, database connection. You can see the number of people who have connected to the database. Like the morning, we tried to, I thought it could allow us to have a connection of many people so that you guys could enjoy, but it looks like when you have so many connection, it fails, and then maybe they think when they see the traffic, they think maybe it's kind of a DDoS attack. So that's why we were getting error. So yeah, free storage space, swap usage, it has a small graph. We also have what you call logs. So remember, I've always been telling you about logs. You can just come and see how the logs are being generated. We have what you call a configuration. You can see a lot of things on this side. Instance class, storage, monitoring, configuration, all this, the master password, who's the master username, the storage that you've been allocated, the RAM, the CPU, class, which other thing, monitoring, the engine version that I'm using, the DB name, the default one. Any other thing that I feel like talking about? No. So we also have what you call zero ETL. Okay, this one's for extraction, and I think also building a pipeline. And another one is data maintenance and backup. So if you want to create a backup, but remember I've told you this extra cost. Data migration, as you can see, this is a new feature. Associated migration, maybe you start creating a migration from maybe California to China. Also, it's allowed. The tags for easier searching, and then can always come to the recommendation. You see if they're recommending him to do something. Yeah, so I don't know if it has completed creating while I was talking. Yeah, it is done. Now, I'll copy that endpoint. I'll open another CMD. MySQL, -u, who's the user, root, right? Okay, let's start with the host. Point to the host like that, and then the user, the root, my password. Please if you're ever hired as a database administrator, don't go and write this kind of simple password. I'm just using this as an example to explain to you guys. Okay. Yeah, there are tools also to generate very complex password. Use that. Or in AWS, you can use what you call AWS KMS keys to manage all these kind of password. Now, if I show databases, we see the cells, right? So I'll exit, and then now, since we had already created a backup, I'll just point it directly using that, and then cells. Data.sql. Okay, cannot find. Keep forgetting to change to my desktop. So the reason I'm getting this error is because I'm in the wrong path. So the path that I'm in is where I have this data.sql. So it's taking time to send the data from Kiambu, Kenya to there. So it has completed to Atlanta, Georgia. So once that is done, I'll sign into the server again and confirm. So use cells, show tables. So there we have our tables. We've managed to migrate to the two different database, the managed and the unmanaged. So for this one, it has made your work very easy. There's a way you can automate like the migration, not the migration per se, but the backup, the monitoring and all that, even the logs. Okay, so as you can see, it's generating the logs here. As you can see, there. All right. So you can always come to the monitoring and see like how it's working slowly by slowly, whether people are using it, right? Mm, yeah. So right now, because it's still new and the data that I've uploaded does not have a lot of data, that's why it's not showing a lot. But if you're using maybe your data has maybe 2 terabytes or even 2 gigabytes of data, that's a lot, eh? So we've done the migration part. That was the main agenda, right? So an extra, you might want to create a pipeline out of this, the data that's here. Cause sometimes maybe you're working as a team and maybe your product manager, who else? Apart from the product manager, who else? Project manager, who else works in the team apart from a product manager? You tell me. I'm sure some of you have already worked with in a tech kind of environment. Apart from a tech, okay. So who are the non-techies who work in a tech department? Non-techies. Who are the non-techies? Sales manager, stakeholders, HR. HR works in a tech department. Business development manager, yeah. Hi, procurement. Hey, see, hey, they want people who work in a tech department, but they don't do the tech stuff. Hi, data analysts, they do a lot of tech stuff. I see Vincent, eh? The cook, eh? Yeah, the cook, the cook, eh? I was gonna throw another joke, but I think I lost whatever I want to say. Yeah, so let's see if we can create a pipeline. So I'll open a new CMD as we finalize. So I know where I have all my files. So I'll see the desktop. So CD data. I'll activate my virtual environment. And then I'll open it in VS Code so that you guys can see. So the package that I'm using is what you call a DLT. So this is the script that we used in the morning. So I figure out it still work in the afternoon to create the pipeline. So the only thing that I need to change here is two things: the root and the endpoint. There. So I've saved it. I delete the DuckDB. I hope it doesn't. So the reason I'm deleting the DuckDB is because it was for the other project, the morning one. I hope it does not give us problem. So yeah, so as a developer, most of the time you'll find that your friend is the terminal. So that's why I've been saying from week 1 to up to the week that you're in, just make the terminal your friend. Because a lot of things, you've not seen me going to click like the folders and then trying to, so you lose the terminal a lot. Yeah. So Python, I'll pass it to the script that is there. Okay, it has generated the DuckDB. So I'll need to call what you call a DLT hub. And then I'll tell it, I want to build a pipeline. I'll pass it to the name of the pipeline and then show. So this is what you call a pipeline. Then you can always show the data to the non-techies, right? So like the HR, maybe you want to show the HR how the data looks like. As you can see, rows loaded. Table is customer orders, payments, the number of rows counted. This is what you call a load info. And then explore data. You can come into the customers, show data, like show them the way the table is arranged. Yeah, because sometimes you don't want to send your supervisor to the database. You don't want to send some of these non-keys to the database. You'll have to have this kind of pipeline. So this means, for example, if, for example, we were trying to make a decision, right? So maybe we're having a stand-up, right? I'll need to have this kind of pipeline and then trying to maybe explain to my CTO, this is how the data is, and then to lead to what you call actionable insight or actionable decision-making process from this. So maybe if your data, maybe is if your table is storing data about something, you can read like how the users and then see, so users from this area are spending a lot or on this particular product and see and things like that. And then with that, you can be able to make better decision in your company. And then your company will grow. The HR will be happy with whatever you're doing. And then they're going to give you a bonus because you're doing the hard stuff, right? That's it. All right. So where were we? Oh, we were here. Now the checkpoint question. So before checkpoint question, let's listen to some here because we still have some few minutes to go. Which song do you guys want to listen? Oh, Panda Basi. Let's panda some basi to California. Yo, it's not a weekend. So still that day. Aya, let's finalize now. Can I get a lady to read for us? Zainab. Zainab, not fair. Okay, let me pick a gent now. Emmanuel Imani, not fair. Moses Mutinda.
Can you hear me?
Yes, gone. Read for us the checkpoint.
Okay, what is the difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous migration?
Yeah. So guys, what's the difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous migration? It's actually very simple, eh? Yeah. So please tell us your answer there in the chats. Let me read some of your answers. Same and different. Homogeneous data migration to same, hetero, different. DebT. Okay. All right, cool. So read the second one.
Name one tool used for migration databases to the cloud.
All right. One tool used for migrating database to the cloud. Let me see some of the suggestion. AWS, no, SCT is for schema conversion, not migrating. Hey, Damilal, MySQLite. Where did you get that one? DMS. Read that one.
What is database migration in simple terms?
Yes, my guys. What is database migration in simple terms? Yeah, simple like that. The way Francis has said, moving from one database to another. Finally,
Give one reason why a company might want to migrate its databases to the cloud.
yep. Why would your company prefer having their database in cloud as preferred as compared to having it locally? Why would a company prefer having their database in China, USA, Asia, not in Nigeria though? Which other one? Middle East, Europe. Yes, Yahoo Boys are going to show you that. I don't know if you guys know Yahoo Boys. Yeah. So, yeah, now let's get a gent to read for us the key. Okay, not a gent, but a lady, because the key the checkpoint was read by a gent. Now a lady, kindly. Just one. Vivaline Maruri. Hey, Vivaline, you're not there. I give it to, let me pass it. Let me pass the mic. Monica Mwanzia.
Can
Yes, Monica.
key takeaways.
Yes.
Database migration means transferring data from one database system to another, whether it's upgrading to a new version, switching database engines, or moving from on-premise servers to the cloud. The second one, database migration tools can automate parts of the process, reducing manual work and errors. The third one is the main reasons for migrating a database include improving performance and scalability, reducing operational costs, and gaining access to new features and better security. And the fourth one, yes. Effective communication and stakeholder involvement are critical to successful migration.
Yo, yeah, we finally come to the end. Oh, that's an echo from my side. Now, thank you so much, Monica and the other gent. We can all clap for Monica and the other gent. So if you want to read more about database, consider actually trying to understand what a procedure, triggers, events, views. We were not able to cover that in our curriculum. And now is that time we're taking your question. I know you have a lot of burning questions. So as always, It was nice having you. Guys, thank you so much for making database, how do I say it? Database lesson always a success. Thank you for always attending. I'll just leave you with a quote from Pop Smoke: shoot for the star, aim for the moon. Right? So at this point, I want to welcome Gerald to take in your question, and then we can end it at that.
Aha. Thank you so much, Zablon. Instructor Zablon here has really made the sessions much more than they are. You know, this is now a very big community that we have. We do not take it for granted. I think from those that are in tech communities, you will never find something like this. I think let us give that a very good round of applause. I noticed some of you are already starting to leave the group. I would not advise that because that community there is something that you are going to need for the next 8 weeks, especially when you're doing specialization. You do not want to be alone. Please let us leverage that particular platform. We will keep it alive for the duration of the specialization. If we were other people, we will probably just delete it, and kick everybody out. But we decided, no, let's keep the community alive. So with that said, for me, I want to thank you all. There's an echo. There's an echo.
The echo.
Oh, okay. There we go. So,
Exactly.
yes, technology. Technology. Right. So now, what I want to do is thank you all guys for your active participation. We don't take it for granted. Thank you all for doing your assignments on time. There are people that do it on time. Like, hey, they literally wait for it. Gerald, where is the assignment? I want to do it now. We appreciate you as well. And for those that are still dragging their feet, please, we are still clapping hands for you. We know you can make it till the finish line. We just worried about the time you are left with, but please keep pushing, move a little bit faster. I know you can do it. Shoot for the stars, aim for the cloud. That is the word of the day. With that said, I'm going to take some hands. Let us take some hands. We can't wait to review your final projects. That is the finish line. Final projects. Questions. I will be taking the first 6 hands. Hilda. Hilda is quick. Okay. Yes,
Good
Hilda.
afternoon, Zablon and Gerald. How are you doing?
We are doing exceptionally very well. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's raining here. It's raining over here in Nakuru.
Rain means blessing and more money.
Okay. I really appreciate for your efforts. You guys have been working tirelessly to support most of us. Like me, I was just new in tech, but now um, I'm just somewhere. So may God bless you and Gerald and Zablon. Okay, first I have an issue. I have around 2 issues to be addressed. The project, the project issue is not clear from my hand. I don't know which project to do, and which project have you been mentioning it. Number two, I was requesting if we can access this recording in our LMS for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hilda, for the 2 questions. For the last question, I want to confirm the slides are up on the LMS. You are welcome to verify that for me. And then also want to confirm that the recording for the morning session is also up and it's waiting for you. Then for the first question, the project. So what we've been covering right now for the 8 weeks, Hilda, we call these the core modules for software engineering. Okay. which covered web development, database, data building. What else did you cover? Is it Python? Yes, and all the other modules that we've been covering right now. Those are your core modules. You're going to need those skills to be able to work in the specialization modules. Specialization modules include full stack, man, and then we've got AI for software engineering. We also have software testing. What else do we have? Dart with Flutter for mobile development. Okay, so you just need to pick one and you're going to run with it. You're going to create a final project using that particular module, and then you can be able to solve some nice problems out there like the SDGs, and put your name to the word change, and improvement, getting your community out of the ghetto, changing lives, being impactful, innovation. You can assign those particular characteristics to your name. Yes. So let us make sure that we make this project not just a PLP project because you want a certificate, but make it have some meaning. Play the cards very close to your hands or to your heart so that you can solve great problems. I know we come from very diverse background, and we all definitely have issues that we can solve with the skills that we have. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Hilda. The second one especially.
Yes, sir, of course. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Next question. Let's see who is the next hand. Next hand that we've got, Patricia. Hi, Patricia. How are you?
Hi, thank you again for allowing me to ask questions. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. So my question is on the WinSCP, for transferring files. So I don't know if Zablon can go back to it. I just wanted to ask question based on that application. Is it possible for him to go back to that
All
app?
right. In 1 minute, kindly, just let me share. That one, right?
Yeah, so
You
when
can see it.
transferring files from the local computer to remote, so this other side for the remote where you have created I believe this is the Ubuntu server you created from the EC2 instance, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on that side, where does that data go? Do you also have to create a storage container for it, or so maybe if you want to access it, if you want to, when you go back to the Ubuntu server and you want to access this data, is it usual? How will you access it? Is it usually stored on a container or something? That is what I wanted to understand.
So you mean this one, right?
Yeah.
All right. So remember, this is just a backup file that I created. Now I transferred it to the Ubuntu. Okay. So that I can create, I can restore from the backup to the Linux Ubuntu. So I was able to do that. Now, and also remember, as I pointed out, you can always use cron to generate this kind of file. So when you generate this kind of file, you can also write what you call a bash script, such that it takes this file from this server to maybe an S3, a different kind of storage. Because I said, you never know what might happen to your server, India. And as I said, we always assess the risk. So the best way, you don't want where maybe a shooting star attacks the California server and then everything ends up in flame. Maybe the data gets destroyed. So what you want to do is maybe have these files maybe in a different kind of a storage area, maybe an S3 Or alternatively, you can create what you call replication. So you replicate this kind of, okay, I know it's not possible in this one, in the Ubuntu, but it's possible in the other manage where you create a replicate of the database that you have. So that in case anything ever happened, there's something what you call, the name I've forgotten, where you have to consider as a developer. Hey, there's a lot to learn, my guys. Let me see if I can get it in the books. We call it. Let me see my books. So you'll be required to. I've mentioned replicas. There's also what you call a cross-region replica. There's something that I want to explain on. Oh yeah, the recovery points objective and what you call a recovery time objective. So an RPO, recovery point objective, is where the maximum period of data loss that is acceptable in the event of a data failure or incident, usually measured in terms of minutes. So RPO of 5 minutes means losing the transaction logs for more than 5 minutes, which is unacceptable. Okay. We also have what we call recovery time objective, RTO. Okay. The maximum amount of downtime that is permitted to recover from a backup and to resume processing, usually measured in terms of hours. So also consider what you call RPO and RTO.
Yes. Now, I don't know if
Yeah.
you've answered my question fully, but I just wanted to understand because when you were setting up the WinZip, you entered the host name for the AWS, right? The AWS
Yes.
instance. Yeah, you entered the host name and
Yes.
the password to access so that you can be able to transfer files from the local to the remote. That is the where the what do you call it, the AWS now. Now I was asking where it lands on now this other side, where you created the Ubuntu, you set up the Ubuntu server. Where does it land? That's my question.
Oh,
Is
nice.
there like a container there?
No, it's a folder that I just created called test. That's where it landed. You can just create any folder here, even let's say it's inside the server, right? Like let's say, for example, if you have a what Linux operating, this is the home path, home, then Ubuntu, the user, right? So if the one who owns this server, it will be home Zablon, and then my desktop, right? So this is kind of my desktop. If it is Windows, as you can see here, it says administrator and then desktop. So this one's also for Windows, for Ubuntu. This is how the Ubuntu looks like. So I created a simple folder like I can create right now. Let's call it Patricia. And then I can come back to WinSCP. There it is. I'll move one step back, refresh, just refresh. There, so as you can see, part is there. And then I can just come and drag and drop Patricia folder. Access denied, server permission denied. Okay, no problem with that cause. So this one also is what you have to consider is what you call access permission. All right. The change modification. Those who knows, there's something what you call in Linux. Let me skip this. What you call change modification, like let's say, for example, in Linux, if you create a folder, there's a way you can prevent someone else from accessing the same folder. I don't know if you can see my browser.
I can only see the WinZip.
Okay. Let me share again. So in Linux, we have the change mode. So change mode is a shell command for managing access permission. Like when you want people to access maybe a certain folder, like let's say, for example, you saw the error of getting. So the next
Yes.
step will be to come and see like the permission and then assign different kind of permission. If I want people to read and write and execute inside the folder, I'll assign a 777. If I want a certain kind of execution, I'll just assign a random number here. So yeah, feel free to try them, and then U stand for user, G for group, O for other users, and A for all the three cases as you go.
Yeah. So let us keep aside the WinZip. Okay, now you want to access, after you've transferred the file from local to remote, you want to access that remote where you've transferred it to. So on the now AWS side, where are you going to go?
Hiya. So on AWS, okay, let me just open AWS. Hiya. So that is not AWS. This side, Cindy. So there's no way to access on AWS because AWS, what it gives you, it just show you like all the necessary things you need to access, to have access to that server. So it only gives you the IP and then it shows you all this. So the best way you can do it is, there's what you call user roles, AWS roles. So IAM roles, so you create a role, you assign it to an S3, okay? So an S3 is this container. Let me just show you guys what I mean. I've mentioned S3 a lot of time. S3 is this one. This is what you call an S3. Okay, so this one is one of the best storage containers you'll ever get. Used for storing objects, to upload files and folders to S3, you'll need to create. So if you want to see the file maybe in a different place, you'll need an S3. So once you create a bucket, you come and create a bucket and then give it any name. I can give it like Patricia 1, 2, 3, 4. And then also another alternative, you see like how I've already created the backup in my computer. I can just come and drag and drop it here. Upload. So add files. This is also another way. I'll come to my desktop. This is the one.
And you can still use WinZip to do that transfer from
No,
your local folder to S3.
No, for S3, it is automatic. You just click add files and then something will pop up like that.
Okay.
And then you add files. Yeah, whether you're using a Linux, a Windows, or the other one, Mac, there. So yeah, so as you can see, this is what you call an object in S3. So read about objects in S3 and all that kind of. So you can see that this one is stored safely. So every time I'm creating backups every Friday, I can just keep storing them here. Or alternatively, I can create a folder. I'll say, these are all the backups for the month of, which month are we? May, Cindy. You keep it organized and then create a folder. So all the backups for May, I'll store them here. When you come to January, have them there. December, there, all in one folder. So that in case your application goes down and you're in August, you'll just go to August folder and then restore based on all those backups, and then people will have the same data.
Okay, and what if you want to restore now from the WinZip, you want to restore data from the remote to local? For example, maybe something happened, unfortunately something happened to the local storage and it's now inaccessible and you want to make, to restore data.
So for example, we want
the remote server.
All right, so let's say we've already accessed, it's on the right side. So we want to, maybe, and we have created the backup, we want to bring it to local computers. And
Yeah.
So let me just change because I'm in the desktop. Let me see if I can change to another location. My documents. Okay, I'll create a folder. I'll open it. So let's drag and drop, considering maybe we've done there. So if I open my, let me minimize this, minimize that, minimize that, minimize that, minimize that, minimize. Okay, I had so many. So where's our folder? It is Patricia here. So as you can see, this one is directly from cloud and then to my local computer.
And are you
Using
able to
Windows.
physically, sorry, are you able to physically access that data.sql from the cloud? Are you able to physically access it?
Physically, what do you mean by physically?
What I mean is that, you see the way you can just go, for example, the data is on the local storage. You are able to go from maybe open your machine, go to desktop folder and access the data.sql. In the same way, maybe how can you access the where you've stored the data or that backup of your data from the cloud?
So you want us to test. So
physically.
to test if the tables are correct, right?
I want us to try to access it physically from the cloud. I don't know if you're getting my question well.
I swear I don't understand. I swear no. I think I'm lost there. How do we? Okay.
Yeah, from here. Now we are on that Ubuntu server, right? Now how can we access that data.sql folder from here? Now we are on the remote, we are on the cloud side.
Yeah. So I'll just go to the folder that that has the file, and then I'll see the data.sql. Now, since I'd already restored it to my SQL server, I'll just sign in there, and then use sample because that's the name of the database, right? Show tables. As you can see, these are the same data I have in my computer, but right now they're in California, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
So if I select all from products, I get the same one, like there are. What have I written? Select all from products. Sorry. Sorry. I cannot. There's something on Zoom when you share, it blocks you. All right. So select. Okay. Use. Wait. Okay. Let me move this. Just let me. Okay. So I'll clear the terminal, and then use sample. Select all from payments, like that.
Yeah.
These are all the data. Now, if you check like the sales DB that you have, you see that it has this same data.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay for the first question. The second question is on when you're building the pipeline, there's this part that you create the virtual environment. So there's that command. I don't know if is it an ampersand or is it the and sign?
Okay. Let me just get the virtual environment. Okay, so here is this one. So let me stop the server here, or you can just create a new CMD. So by virtual environment, I believe Mr. Evans has already taught you or taken you through like virtual environment. What is a virtual environment? Like in Python, especially when you're using it with Django. I just had someone say he touched or he taught you guys about Django. So for you to do Django, you have to have a virtual environment. Reason being is because you might find the project that I'm trying to run, it depends on Python 3.13, right? But
Mhm.
when you check my computer, it has Python what? 10. You see? 3.10. And maybe the project that I want to run depends on Python 3.13. So we usually use virtual environment to separate that, to just avoid that kind of errors where it tells you maybe install a different version of Python or install a different version of this, install a different version of this. So what we do is we create a small container, and then inside this container, we install all the dependencies, okay, that I needed to run this project with the required version. So if I come to the requirements.txt where I was trying to, this one, as you can see, all these dependencies will be stored inside the container, not inside my computer, but inside the container. As you can see, it also has the version. For example, if I want MaxSafe, it's version 3.02. That one requirements by YAML, the SQL Alchemy, because it's SQL database, Watchdog, TZ, data for time. We have types, setup tools, and the necessary version. You might find in my also in my computer that I'm using like a SQL Alchemy version, maybe 0.1, which has already passed. Right now we're in 3. And when I try to execute, I get so many errors. So it's usually advised that you start by creating a virtual environment, especially if you're working with a Python project.
Okay. Okay, and what is the purpose of the DLT? Because you have to also install the DLT for the
So
pipe.
DLT,
Mhm.
so DLT is the packet that enables you to perform all that. So the person who created DLT has made it possible. He has written a program that enables you as the developer to create a pipeline, to take your data from a cloud or from any database stored in somewhere, create a pipeline for regular users to understand. Also, DLT is not only used to create like data pipeline. You can use it to fetch data from APIs. What do I mean by APIs? API is like a sports API, which has a lot of data. Sports API, open source, sports API, garage API. Okay, there's this one. So, for example, if you want to access a certain API, maybe for sports that already happened, let's say, is it this site where all categories? Let's see. So for the data guys, they usually love consuming data from APIs. So with DLT, it has this kind of feature where you can just fetch data. Okay, not this one. Let me try basketball. Oh yeah, that is. So it is. So I am sure it has a lot of data that you can play with it. So first point, always come to the documentation and see how the data is written. Maybe if you want to see the endpoint for season. I don't know if there is a season right now that is playing. And then, so this is the kind of response that when you hit a certain endpoint, you'll get, you see? So from here, you can use DLT to store this kind of data. Remember I said, this data can be used for maybe when you want to maybe take note of certain trends, like see some, you come up with, maybe you use this data to make some certain kind of decision. Yeah, as I said, that is the new fuel, eh?
Okay.
Feel free to play with these open source, not open source, but available APIs for free, public APIs that you can use to play with. just to enhance your database knowledge or skills.
Oh, okay. So the command I was asking, is it an ampersand or and sign
Which
for
one?
creating the virtual
Oh,
environment?
okay.
Is one that you shared in
When
the
I did
morning
this,
session.
okay, CD
The-
what? Okay, let's create a virtual environment.
Yeah.
So you mean this way?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
.vnv.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those is it ampersand or is it and
So
sign? See, yeah, it's and.
what I mean by this is I don't want to come to the next line and then activate my virtual environment. I just want to write one command in a sentence, and then the Windows operating system to do all the things automatically. So
Okay.
so for Windows, when you want to, it cannot read, like, let's say I want to execute two things at the same time. So that one is for creating a virtual environment called this one. And then I want to activate it. So if I try to activate it, I'll definitely get an error. So to tell a Windows that that's a separate command, you write an ampersand, that one,
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
like that. So this means create and activate. And also I can even add another one and then tell it pip install Django, for example.
Okay.
So if I press enter, you see I've written everything that I needed in just one line. So I was avoiding of coming to the next line and writing it again, go to the next line,
Okay.
writing it again, like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Will you please paste this on the chat or somewhere?
which one?
The command itself, the pi,
All right.
or
So
on Q&A.
let me- okay,
Paste it on Q&A.
done.
Okay. Then the last question, once you've built the pipeline, if you can just go back to the pipeline that you built, there are sometimes maybe the decision makers like the CEO or the HR can tell you, instead of them coming back and forth to your desk to check on that database, if maybe they can have their own, they can have a link. So maybe how can you share that link?
Okay, so there's something what you call Streamlit. So I think when, as a Python developer, I think Python has made things very easy. I'm not saying that Python will make now Python your favorite language. If JS is your favorite, well and good. So Python has made it easy. So it has a way of, there's something what you call a Streamlit. Let me just open it. I might not be able to give you like the correct definition. Streamlit. So this is the one. A faster way to build apps and share data apps. So it gives you a dashboard, and then with that dashboard, you can deploy. So once you've deployed that dashboard, you can share the link with your HR, with the cook.
Okay.
Who else? Yeah.
And let me ask, you see when you are creating the unmanaged the database, are you able to like insert a command that will restore data from the server to the local storage?
Not really. Not really, but
if you want to restore data.
So there's no command. There's no direct command of doing that. Let me think of how to do it. Any migration tool? No. No, I've never done it, but I'm not sure if there's a possible way. But let me not say there isn't a way to do that. But if any one of you has ever done it, please let me know. I'd also love to try new things. Maybe
Okay.
write a command and then it takes, yeah. So another way to maybe monitor your server, you can install what you call a cockpit. I believe it's called that way. Linux. So once you install this gives you a dashboard of taking care of the servers, especially the Linux. I'm sorry again, Windows guys, these things, a lot of these things come to the Linux side. I don't know. The ones who develop, they just develop for Linux. So this is how the dashboard looks like. So you can see the network, the logs. If you don't like the terminal, the way the terminal looks like, you can perform a lot of things on this.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering my questions. And sorry, I took a lot of your time and a lot of other people's time. Thank you so much.
No problem. Of importance is to make sure everyone understands and everyone's answers have been addressed. Yeah, so because we want you guys to become the best developers, right? We want you guys to become the best DevOps engineer, the best backend engineers. Yes. Cloud engineer also.
AI
Jared.
engineer.
Hey, Jared, you want to take coffee without me?
Hey, I even ate lunch and dessert.
I'll sue you. I'll tell the HR. Then you want to take lunch without me and coffee.
Hectic. I know that was not on recording, eh?
Hey, did we stop the recording by the way?
Oh no, it's still ongoing. We will have to cut that part.